Hello, lovelies. All right, today we're going to jump right in. We are reviewing and testing out the Melody Susie Flauwree, not sure. Um, New HEMA-Free, HPMA, hypoallergenic, basically, gel polishes. They were kind enough to send me these 7 colors of my choice. Here I'm just opening them up. I just fast forwarded through it because honestly, it took way too long to open up each package. So while it's pretty, it's not exactly easy packaging. And we're going to be doing our swatching. It was really, really, really difficult, I'll just say, to get the correct like coloring and white balance and tint and stuff while swatching. So I apologize when the colors kind of shift a bit, but it was really difficult to like, for some reason, catch these particular polishes distinct tints and hues. So I did my best to get them as accurate as humanly possible, but I have to say, like, forgive any fair, like, tiny discrepancies if you end up seeing like yours is a different, slightly different tint or hue. Anyways, they go on really, really nice. I will say, like, that is the one thing I like about them. Their application is nice, thicker, smooth. They have a nice feel to them, nice brush. The bottles are a nice size too, which is great. 15 milliliters, I believe. And the colors are really pretty. Like the ones that I chose are really pretty. Like this one's actually like a sparkly, like lighter pink. It's like you can kind of see the sparkle, but it's really pretty. It's got like little gold sparkles in it, but it's kind of more sheer. So it's really nice to like actually like layer over other colors because you can see how sheer it is, but yet still kind of opaque. It's very interesting. Like nothing is like truly sheer, nothing's truly opaque. I don't know. Their polishes are very distinct from ones I've used in the past. I just can't put my finger on exactly what's different. It's like they're pigmented but not opaque, or maybe the other way around. So it's like they do really, really well for like just one color layering, you know what I mean? Like just a solid color nail, but not so great like for fine detail painting or line work and things like that, which you'll see like I kind of struggled later. Um, but yeah, otherwise, like if you're just needing a simple manicure, like they're wonderful. And I think that's great. Just didn't like them in my tests either, doing ombre and marbling and things like that. Like the marbling was okay, but the ombres I struggled with. It was just like way too thick. It did not want to mix at all, and not well, like at all. But yeah, you'll see like a couple of the test nails. I'm going to show it a little bit. But anyways, this one was one of the hardest to get the right color. It is like a definitely bright popping pink. Let's see, yeah, color shifting there. Sorry about that. And then this one's actually more of like a corally pink. So it's a little bit more orangey red than it is on screen, but still definitely in the pink category. So it's not as like red as it's showing now either. It was really hard to get these on film. I don't know why I've never had that issue, but like these were really, really tricky. Maybe something in like their ingredients has like a different light refractant, whatever. I don't know. Anyways, and this last one was really cool though because it goes on like a nude gold shimmery one, but actually I found that when you use like the sponge ombre kind of thing, like you can actually ombre just like a gold sparkle tint over any other color. So that was cool. I like this one a lot. Like this could be really useful. And then when you put a matte top coat over it too, it turns out really nice. So you'll see that we actually end up using this one for a lot of our nails today. It's very pretty. Very, very pretty. All right, and there are all of our colors. And then we are going to get to begin. Let's do it. All right, let's make some beachy summer nails. Woohoo! So first I'm going to show really quickly some of the test nails I did. As you can see, I really struggled with the ombre, especially with the brush technique, but layering over like the gold shimmer was really pretty. The line work and detail painting I did not like very much with these gel polishes. Like I had mentioned prior, they were not pigmented enough, I think. So it was like very difficult to get like a nice lay down. However, they are really nice for self-leveling. So single color, like I mentioned, is really wonderful for these. Anyways, we're just going to go into our full cover tips with base coat. I did not prep these like I normally would, like actually like buffing all of the nails prior. I just went in straight with the base coat and thought I would test it out. It backfired mildly, but only because my lamp started dying. So yeah, you'll see later. Also, make sure you stick around. We are going to get to see the very first look at the first prototype of the little pink nail book. Yay! It is the first prototype though, so yeah, it's not what the final one will look like, but it's just kind of the basic idea of it. Anyways, coming in with that beautiful like gold shimmery beige color, that's going to be the base color for 3 of the 5 nails. So we're just going to go into 3 of those and cover them all fully. And then we're going to do 2 in the blue, pretty blue color. And that beautiful, pretty blue. Yay. This is one of my favorite blues, I have to say, though. Like, this blue is freaking gorgeous. And it just goes on very, very nicely. It's just such a lovely little, like, oceany blue. So basically, we're only going to be doing, like, design work on the 3 middle fingers and then leave the thumb and the pinky solid colored. We're still going to be adding some artwork and gemstones to them at the end. So we cure it, and then we're going to go in with our matte top coat on the middle 3 that we did with just the gold shimmery beige color. And for the base matte and regular top coats, I'm using Madam Glam for those because unfortunately I'm not sure why, but Melody Susie did not make a base or top coat for their HEMA-Free hypoallergenic Flauwree line. So that was a little annoying to me. I'm not sure why they would make gel polishes that are HEMA-Free and hypoallergenic, but not make a base and or top coat for it. So yeah, that would kind of be one of like the downsides if you're trying to stick to one system. Then there's not much point because you would obviously need that HEMA-Free hypoallergenic base coat and top coat too. So yeah, not sure why they did that, but meh. But yeah, going in with the Madam Glam glossy top coat on the other 2 nails because we're going to be leaving those until the later part and then fully curing for 60 seconds. And then I'm just going to put all of my colors out on a palette. So when I review polishes like this, I try to keep to these polishes. I try to not bring a bunch of other factors into what I'm doing. So I try to make a design out of just what I'm reviewing. Of course, I had to bring the Madam Glam and then eventually Nail Couture's rhinestone gel glue into the set because obviously Melody Susie doesn't have it in this line. But I did try to stick to just these colors that I had gotten for this design. So I actually do a bit of mixing here to give myself different shades of blue. So add depth, deepen, whatever you want to call it, whatever, to the ocean that we're going to be painting. An even darker, like grayer blue for like the deeper part of it. So I try to add a little bit of dimension and depth to the shore break. So yeah, just mixing some colors together, taking advantage of the other colors that I had received. And see how pretty that comes out though after you matte top coat it? Like it makes that like beigey brownish color, like more of like a white beige with that gold shimmer. I just love it. I think it's so pretty matte top coated. I'm weirdo for matte top coat anyways, but it just changes the color of it even, and it's so gorgeous. Anyways, we're going in with that blue and we're going to just be kind of sloppy about it. Like kind of all over. Ideally, like the idea is to make it so that like it looks like a consistent shore break across from one nail to the other. But yeah, just slapping some on the bottom there to be like the main portion of our ocean slash shore. And then we'll get into like the more granular details with our liner brushes. or in our striping brush, actually, I think is the one I'm using right now from Madam Glam. And we'll go in with like our deeper greens towards the front of the shore where it would be more shallow, and then just kind of splotchies to give that like whitewash effect, which we'll go in with white after, but you have to put the base down there. Just try and give some prettiness to the water. You could just not do this, really. I mean, just put in the splotchies and not needing like to give it multiple colors, because really at the end you can barely tell, but I like to think that it adds just that extra little bit to it. And then just getting kind of random and sloppy and just picturing kind of where it would break onto the shore. It doesn't have to be too specific, as long as it just looks like big splashes of watery sea foaminess. And then go in with my darker, slightly darker blue. It was hard to get anything that much darker, but I got a little darker, and then put it towards the end where the water would be deeper. Again, this is optional, like this part, but I just think that it makes it even prettier. Here we go, and then we're going to cure that for a full 60 seconds. And here we are. So unfortunately, this was what I was kind of talking about. I had left it for a day or so in between filming, and my lamp apparently had been dying, so it started to bubble up. Unfortunately, that happens when gel is not fully cured, so instead of scrapping it, I just attempted to save it since it's not going on anybody's nails. However, if this was to happen to somebody on their actual nails, I highly recommend you would buff it or file it off, or even soak off completely if the bubbles especially are particularly bad. Otherwise, if it's just super minor, you can usually just cure it and or buff slightly, cure it, and put over some base coat, which is what we're doing here, just cleaning up, re-curing, and then I'm going to throw some base coat back on it, fill in any bubbles right after I prep for the artwork. So I did manage to salvage them. However, I would not leave them that way for a client. So just my personal disclaimer there. So yeah, we're just going to go back in with some base coat and fill in kind of where those little gaps and re-self-level it out, basically. As long as it's fully cured beforehand, you can usually do this. So I switched over to my new lamp and re-cured them a couple times, and it seemed to bring most of it down. Just a few minor annoyances after, but yeah. So just a heads up, if that ever happens to you, it is usually your lamp, and most of the time I would highly just recommend redoing them. But if you need to, they can usually be salvaged if it is very, very minor. But yeah, so that's what we're doing. We're just salvaging these ones. I did not want to go in and do it all over again because I was particularly lazy. I'm just going to be honest. I was feeling pretty lazy. Plus, this is just for a demo. So I figured, screw it. So we're going to go in and cure that. I'm going to put more colors on my palette and prep for the rest of this design. So you see me putting down like the same color more than once on there. That's because I don't like to contaminate sometimes the one color if I know that I'm going to be mixing it with different colors like multiple times. So I'll put down in multiple places. So see, once we re-cured it with the base coat, it actually leveled out most of it. And you can barely see any of the bubbles now, so that worked out. And I have this new dotting pen thing that I had gotten recently, so I figured I'd give it a shot. It's kind of cool. It has like the little extension pieces, I guess you call them, that you like can replace on the tips instead. See, so here it has like the different dotting tools, but it also came with the pen style one, which I was sadly disappointed with. It just does not work very well, at least with these polishes, but that's okay. It was still fun to play with at least, and store them in the handle. But I could not stand them rattling around inside, so I actually just set them up on a magnet next to me. But yeah, kind of defeats the whole purpose of having them in one pen, but it's fine. It was still fun. I don't know. It's new. It's like, it's like $2 or something. Can't complain about a $2 multi-use dotting pen. But anyway, sorry. We are just going in and adding the white to our whitewash on our short break here. And it's just really erratic, just wherever the heck I feel like throwing a bunch of white. See, pretty cool. We're going to cure it for the full, I've been curing for 60 seconds always just because it's safest, and see, I just showed where like they would normally get stored, but I didn't like them rattling around in there. So then we're trying out the fountain pen tip, which didn't really work as it's supposed to, but it still makes a pretty like nice fine point or whatever. I end up switching it back out in a second, but we're just going in with a nice like light mix of that sand color that we used with like a nice peachy pink kind of color just to give us an outline. I wanted to put one of those cute little like heart drawn in the sand things. So I just tried to get a lighter pinker color so that when we go and sugar it later, it will stand out even more. So yeah, I realized that pink was a little too dark, and just lightening it and then trying to go back in. Using my dotting tool and just trying to make a cute little hand-drawn heart-looking kind of thing, just to give it a little bit more visibility when we outline it once we sugar the nails. And we're going to cure it and then go in with the matte top coat again. And we're just going to hit the whole nail. I honestly can't remember why I matte top coat these again. I think I intended to go back in with another layer for the whitewash and then decided it didn't need it. So technically I would say you could skip this layer. I think too I wanted to stick with it looking matte, but then I ended up having to go glossy just because it was too difficult. Anyways, I probably would have done this differently another time around, but yeah. So I go back in actually with the sand beigey gold color and try to kind of just get as close to like the shore break without hitting too much of the white and blue as I can, because we're actually going to sugar these. And you can also just do that with your matte top coat or your glossy top coat instead of the color. But I just kind of figured because we're going to be outlining that heart that I wanted it to be in that color specifically. But you didn't have to do it either way. You could do it with either one. There was no real specific purpose, I think, for me doing it this particular route. I just did. And then going around the heart. I think I end up just going over it and trying to thin it out so I can still see where the heart is. But yeah, like I said, I don't know why. I would totally do it again and just do it with my top coat or even a base coat or matte top coat. But yeah, I, for some reason, felt like it needed another layer of this color. I don't know. Anyways, I'm just going in with my cheap Model 1's clear acrylic that I don't actually use for my acrylic because it has allergen ingredients that I'm not a fan of. So I use this one for sugar. And we're just going to go in and sugar that up. That way, hopefully only the sand part is sugared and not the whole nail. Because I didn't want to give texture to the water, just the sand. So like I said, I probably would have done it first if I had thought of it when I was doing it. I would have done this first before going in with the water aspect. But yeah, still worked out. It's fine. It was just one of those things where I was like, I don't know why I did it this way, but I did. And yes, I am totally using a swatching stick to sugar these because I could not find my spoons for some reason. So it works though. You use what you've got, right? And then we just go and cure it fully for the 60 seconds, and then we can go in and dust it off after. Now this one with the heart, do not cure it yet. I'm going to go in and hit that one and sugar it. And then we're going to go in with our dotting tool and we're going to just outline where we have placed that colored heart, and very gently, because we want to leave that like build up around the heart so it looks like it is actually dug into the sand. I think it's so cute. I love that so much. Like, this is my favorite part of the whole thing, I think. And then ideally from digging in to out, it will reveal that like pinkier color so that it will have like that actual depth instead of just kind of falling into the whole design. You know what I mean? So pretty easy to do, and it looks so cute, and it actually ends up staying put after it's cured too. So that was really cool. I was kind of afraid that after it was cured it would just end up kind of getting self-leveled into everything else, but no, it stayed put. Or like if I was to brush it off, I was afraid that the sugaring was going to brush right off of the nail, but no, it stayed put. And I was very, very, very happy with it. So I just brush all of them off after they're cured, get any of the loose acrylic that was on anything I had not painted. And then you'll see the heart one turned out really, really cute. I love it so much. Sorry, that's my favorite part. It is so cute. Like, look at that cuties. Ah, sorry. That heart is just adorable. Sorry, I love it so much. Okay, so you could leave the set like this. However, because I did not use a top coat, I would not. So I would go on a top coat. Anyways, here is our little pink nail book prototype. As you can see, we have pages in there that have multiple elements or graphics that we can trace over, and then there's empty pocket pages that you can put your own stickers and decals in and go right over them so you can copy it as many times as you want. I'm actually doing that now. I'm taking a sticker page that I had of these palm tree leaves or whatever, and I'm putting it inside the page, and now I can go right over it with my paint and use that as like a guideline for what I'm trying to draw. So it's really, really handy. Like, and that way too, like say I wanted that sticker, but not in that color, like I can just go in right over it now and recreate it with whatever color I'm using or want it in. So I just go in to 2 of these with the green. And then because of how not pigmented or opaque these polishes are, I end up putting a layer of white on after, because I just really wanted it to actually stand out from the background at all. Like I really felt like it was just going to blend right into that blue if it didn't have something behind it to kind of make it pop. So that is how we did it. It still kind of fades into it a bit, but that's okay. Like it's still cute. But yeah, so you would just go in. You could, if you wanted to, put down a layer of top coat or base coat down first. I did not for this. This was just one of like my first attempts at playing with these pages. So I just went in with the paint, and then when we go to pull it off later, I have put a layer of base coat on that before. You'll see. Anyways, sorry. So yeah, we're just going to go with the white, like I said, curing in between. So I made this book specifically so that it could be fit directly into your lamp too, so that you don't have to rely solely on flash curing if you don't want to, or even at the end you wouldn't want to anyways. You'd want it to be fully cured before you go to pull it up. So that way you don't have to worry about trying to fit it in your lamp. It is tiny enough to fit in hopefully any lamp that exists. And you can take the page off too, like the individual page, if you don't want to have the whole book out or in your lamp. It's just so many possibilities. I'm so stoked about this book, like you have no idea. Anyways, so yeah, I'm just flash curing the individual colors as I layer them up, and then going into the second palm tree now. I was just not a huge fan of these polishes for line work, so I just wanted to go in quick and simple. They just did not do what I wanted them to do. They were a little too thick, not pigmented enough. These polishes, not so great for this, but I still made it work. It still works. But yeah, I can just go right in, and it's so much fun too that you can use anything you already have too, as well as there will be, I think right now we're over 300 elements. There's going to be a lot of graphics in the finished book, which I'm finishing up right now, and it is so exciting. But yeah, every kind of theme you could think of hopefully will be in there, and then things that you don't have in there, you can add in there yourself, because there's all of these extra empty pages with both black and white inserts so that you can actually see what you're working on, because sometimes your sticker page is white like this, and over a white background it would be kind of pointless. So we have the background and vice versa. Lots of options. I love it. I love options. Anyways, yeah, just going in. Sorry, I probably should have sped this part up a little bit more, but I don't like watching it too sped up, and then I can't really actually see what somebody's doing. So I tried to keep this whole video at moderate speed instead of super speed like I would tend to do just to make it go by faster. I kept this one a little more like my normal speed. Hopefully it is not too slow, but hey, let me know either way. So on that note, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and the all notifications bell. That way you do not miss out on the awesome content coming, especially with me demoing and using this little pink nail book, because it is so fabulous. I really think you're going to love it. I really hope you're going to love it. It was made just for you. So you don't want to miss out on any of it. And hit up the newsletter to get all of the best updates. And when new videos come out, you'll get updated there too, because YouTube can get a little finicky. Yay! So I'm going to go in with a layer of base coat. I use base coat and not top coat for this because I plan on flipping them over. So this is the side that's going to touch the nail. If this was going to be the top side for you, you could put your top coat in there already. But because I am going and flipping them over once I pull them up, that's why I use base coat. And then I threw that in the lamp for 60 seconds. And then there are all of my options for our gemstone, charm, rhinestone, whatever you want to call it, blinging it out. And then I'm trying to pull these up. Because this was such a thin layer, it was a little tricky to try to get up, but I would always recommend you kind of go a little extra, like outwards of your decal, so that you have a little bit extra space, depending on how sharp your tweezers are too. But yeah, it actually pulled up perfectly. And then I go in and with my cuticle scissors and I just trim off the edges. Oh, and then if you use base coat, just wipe it off with your acetone and isopropyl alcohol mix so that there's no sticky layer. And yep, you can use that to clean off your whole book. All of the laminate sheets are resistant to the acetone isopropyl alcohol mix. So yay. And then yep, I'm just going to go in there and snip around the edges, clean it up so that there's not so much extra around it. And then I did something kind of silly, which I would not do again. In fact, I would recommend that you do not do what I did. I am going to end up going in with top coat, but not curing it and then trying to set the decals in the top coat wet. So it ended up kind of leaving me a bubbly mess. I don't know why I did that. I would highly recommend instead you use the tacky layer of your polish and or put a layer of base coat, cure it, and then put your decals on, or even like a foil glue would probably work really, really well. Otherwise, there's a chance that, like me, you're going to end up kind of having it end up a little bubbly. So just a warning, do not do what I do. What's that saying? Do as I say, not as I do. Anyways, so yeah, this is what I ended up doing. And like I said, not the smartest move. Mostly because I didn't have the patience to actually make sure there was no bubbles in it. And they were rather large, not as well cut down decals as I probably should have. I could have cut them down way more nicely. But at this point in the whole thing, I was kind of just done. I was just kind of okay, I'm tired. Let's just get this done. So yeah. And this was one of my very first test attempts at using the little pink nail book. So there will be plenty more of awesome content on using this amazing little book. So there will be definitely way, way better examples and demos as far as the best ways to utilize it. But even this way, that I did it, that wasn't ideal or perfect, still ended up coming out cute, especially considering that these were my least favorite gel polishes to actually paint detail work with. So I was pretty pleased. And then see, I just ended up snipping off a little end there because I was unnecessarily trying to push it in there. But yeah, pushing it into uncured gel is super not something I would ever tell anybody to do. In general, I don't like anybody trying to play with uncured gel. When people try to rub their chrome into half cured gel, it drives me crazy just because it's not worth the risk of allergies and getting all of your tools contaminated with gel, uncured gel especially, is just not ideal. Anyways, it's really great and easy to clean up the book though after. You just give it a quick wipe with your IPA acetone mix. And then after curing for a full 60 seconds, I just go back in with another coat of top coat just to level out any of those bubbles that I had created by doing something silly. But it ended up turning out good. So that's okay. It all worked out. Nice, good self-leveling top coat fixes everything. And then go and cure it for another 60 seconds. And then we are going to top coat all of them. Ideally, I would have wanted to keep those three in the middle matte because I just think it looks so pretty that way. But I ended up just going gloss on the whole thing, so they were all the same. You could, however, do it however you want. That's the whole fun of it, is to take it as inspiration and not as a must do it like this, Anyways, also I should have apologized a long time ago. My voice is a little crackly. I have been under the weather for over a week now, but I am still all here for it. So just excuse my crackly voice. Anyways, so yeah, just top coating. The only thing I was worried about with gloss top coating, that one nail that we had put the little outlined heart in, was that it would lose itself like in the self-leveling of the top coat. But it still managed to stand out, not as much as I would have liked, unfortunately, but it's still there and it's still cute. So I'll take it as a win. And I generally think that when you're putting on like charms and gems like I'm about to do, that it blends better using your gel glue on a glossy top coat. Not top coat, it's just so obvious where you place gem glue. Like if you're not ridiculously like OCD about exactly where it's being laid down, or re-matte top coating after the fact, which you should always try to do, I guess, right? Like to make sure they're sealed in, you should always put another layer of top coat after you put in your gems, just around rhinestones. Like you never want to put your top coat over, especially glass rhinestones, because it will take away some of that beautiful reflective properties. But otherwise, yeah. Again, these were for demo, so do as I say, not as I do. It's like my slogan for the whole video. Anyways, moving on to the last and final part of these kind of long stepped nails, but still totally freaking cute and could have been done a lot faster if you did as I said and not as I do. Anyways, I just felt like this thumb needed something. I wanted it to kind of look like looking out at the ocean. So I put a little sun there. I didn't have many options from my charm, surprisingly. Like I have way too many yet. I didn't have like any other sun options, and I didn't feel like painting one at this point because it was really, really late and I was really, really tired. So, however, you could totally do another decal with like a cute sun and put it there. That would be super, super cute. But I also like to have charms also evenly placed. So like having them on 4 nails and not the 5th would just be a little off to me, like aesthetically. So at least I was able to put something on there. That way it's like the sun in between the branches. And then this one I kind of had to just makeshift little like coral seaweed patch thing by like flipping them upside down and backwards and all around so that they weren't just all in the same direction, because I only had the one style. But it actually worked out pretty cute, I think. So, 1 point for ingenuity. And yep, just putting a ton of the ENC, so Nail Couture gel glue on. I have to say it was kind of a total pain in the ass. Like I struggled so hard getting these all on for some reason. Like my hands were just shaky. I was tired. It took me so long. And then I also did not do what I would normally do, which was to bring out those little shaper thingies, which kind of like helps press in your charms and stuff so that it's shaped the way of the nail, like so that it fits the nail more appropriately and doesn't just stick up. I did not pull that out, and I did not do that on these, which I absolutely should have, because some of these were rather large and did not want to sit still. So I highly recommend that you always use that little heart shapey thing. I can't think of what it's called at all right now. I apologize, but I'll try and link them below in the description box, because they're super, super handy, especially on metal charms like this. I keep calling them charms because I don't know really what else to call them. Like they're not gems, but I mean, they are charms, I guess, just the little itty bitty tiny ones. They're charms the size of rhinestones. Anyways, and then I wanted it to look like a little bubbling, like seaweed sea scene. That's a lot of C's. But anyways, I think it turned out really cute, though. I have to say the pinky is one of my favorites. Like that pinky nail is so adorable with the little seahorsey I'm about to put on it. Anyways, yeah, so I also, for some reason, didn't even think to grab the tweezers, like, for so long. Like, only on the last piece or two, you'll see I finally grabbed the dang tweezers to hold some of these charms, because I don't know, my brain must have been so tired, because I completely did this with so much more effort than I needed to do. Yeah. And you'll see, like, I even start at one point to use, like, the back end of my wax gem picker-upper, the metal part, to actually like try to bend some of the charms, like just there on my desktop, which did work actually. So hey, again, 1 point for ingenuity. But yeah, and then I'm putting these cute little like color pearls that I have up there too, just to like mix in with the metal charms. Sorry, this is a really long voiceover to some of that at this point. Anyways, how many times have I said anyways? Okay. I'm starting to crack. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, this definitely took a really, really long time. I definitely was starting to get very frustrated. As you can see, I did leave in some of the parts where I was just like, would not stay on. I was like, but it happens. It's just, yeah. It's just, yeah. If you know, you know. Anyways, so after a lot of fiddling, I finally got my cute little seahorse scene together, but a lot of fiddling. Like, I didn't want to leave it all in here because nobody needs to see my like hour of frustration here. And it's almost like embarrassing that I would ever spend that long just putting arms on nails. But yeah. What was cool is I actually was pretty happy that it worked out okay. I tried to mix together all three of the different like metals, rose gold, gold, and silver, mostly because I only had a few shells and like things from each metal color. So I was like, well, screw it. If I want a good variety, like I've got to just try and throw all three in there. And I think it actually worked out really nice. Like I think it's cute. But of course, you can use whatever you have. And that's what's so fun, right? It's just like I basically just grabbed what I could find and kind of put it all together, and it looked really pretty. So you don't need to like go out and always buy new things. You can just make them work for you. Like especially with this like last piece of like little seaweed coral, whatever. Like I just flipped it upside down just so that it would go the other direction. Otherwise it would have looked really weird. But again, if I had used my little shaper pusher tool thingy, it would have sat so much nicer and not struggled. But yeah, if you do have to leave it flat and it's sticking up, you would want to go in after and put as much glue in the gaps as possible so that you're not going to get caught on anything after the fact. And then, of course, do top coating to seal them in. We'll make sure that, yeah, it doesn't get caught on your hair and clothes and everything else after. And then we're finally on the last 3 home stretch. Oh, yeah. These ones were fun, trying to figure out where to place them and not like cover up like any of the like light blue green spots that like actually added some like definition and like not covering up too much of the sea foam. This was just like the funnest part of the entire charm blinging out. I have to say though, like the squeeze bottle thing was driving me kind of nuts. I think that I will likely just go back to using the brush and potted gel glue techniques from now on. Although I don't know, I do have larger squeeze bottles that might be a bit easier, but like because this one was so small and that stupid cap blingy thing in the way, I was getting so frustrated. Like, yeah, it was so difficult. I extremely apologize because there's so many times I'm out of frame and even like my head popping into frame. It was just at this point I had gotten so just rawr with the whole thing that I was like, I just want to get these charms on. I just want these to be pretty and done. Like, yeah. But yeah, if you've been there, you know, you understand. So I tried to salvage as much of the footage that was at least partially on screen as I could. And yeah, there's not much thought process, I guess, that goes into planning for these, like where I lay them out and everything. I just kind of wanted a nice mix of the different metals right between the nails just to have it kind of aesthetically even, like symmetrical almost, where like, you know what I mean, if there was 3 on one nail and then 2 on another and 4 on the other, something like that. I just wanted it to look like they would all flow nicely. And that's kind of just all I do. And then I just go in and kind of pick and choose as I go. Not much of it is pre-planned. The only thing that like I really had in mind was the little seahorse scene, but even that wasn't fully pre-planned. I kind of just went in and just kept adding until it looked right. You can pre-plan though, which is great. It probably would have been a lot less frustrating if I had done that. But for this one, this was not even like expected. When I first started the set, I actually didn't plan on even adding the charms and things. I would put up maybe a couple gemstones and that's it. But yeah, I usually don't even bling out a lot of my sets anymore. I don't know why. I want to. I guess just by the time I get there, I'm just so tired. Then I get lazy about it. Unless I'm working on a client, like, which is not fun. Like, I love blinging things out. I don't know why I don't do it more often. And so, yeah, on this one right there, like I was having the hardest time getting it to sit flat because it was directly across the curve of the nail. So pushing it, like trying to use my fingers. By the way, if you're going to use your fingers at anything with gel glue, please, 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 guys, make sure that you change your gloves after, or don't touch anything else, and or at least wipe your gloves down with some rubbing alcohol at the very least, because even though nitrile is at least more resistant to HEMA and other ingredients in gel products, it actually was shown in a study that after about 10 minutes, it can penetrate through nitrile. So you would still want to change your gloves out after about the 10-minute mark at least, which, you know what I mean? It's just an extra precaution, but it's always better safe than sorry. Like, there's just no need to be even messing with allergies if you don't need to, you know? And even though this product is hypoallergenic for nail couture, you can become allergic to pretty much anything in the world. So it's kind of like, why would you, unnecessarily? And if you have a different product that does have HEMA in it, then especially then you would want to make sure that you're just being safe, because I would generally advise against touching it directly with your hands. But again, frustration sometimes overrules logic. Anyways, we finally cured them all, and there is our pretty set. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Love you.